This is Lisa Futch for Paper Maniacs at www.creativecanines.blogspot.com, and this is the tutorial for the July Copic Club. And the theme this month is getting into depth with things. And what reminded me of this, I was listening to an 80s station, and I'm ancient, so I love the 80s. Definitely my generation. And I was listening to this old Paula Abdul song, which was 2 steps forward, 1 step forward and 2 steps back. And that reminded me that we needed to get more in depth on hair. Now, I know that there's a real funny logic that I have. Let me explain to you how I got to that. When I color hair, particularly a head of hair like we find on the greeting farm stamps, I color forwards and then they color backwards. And that's a really hard thing to see on a stamp as small as a Whiff of Joy stamp. The smaller the stamp, the easiest it is to color hair. And these greeting farm stamps are so much fun to color. They have so much personality. They are so adorable. I think it's a good place to start. Ian has this huge head of hair. The Ians, the Anayas, all the little different characters from them all have huge heads, huge hair. And the hair can be a little daunting. So what we're going to do, and a surfer to me has to be blonde. So here's one of my favorite blonde combinations. And we have these from the groups. YR23, Y21, Y11, and Y00. Do not be afraid of using more than 2 or 3 colors. The more colors you use, the more differentiation you get within your image. So we're going to stick with our other theme, which is using a side light source. And I'm going to make my light source come from this top here. And the reason to me this Ian Scream side light source is because the way his head is tilted, the direction his eyes are looking towards my left. So I'm going to start with my YR23 and I'm going to start laying in my darker color. Now, to me, the darker color belongs closest to the face. I'm going to use a modified feather stroke, and I'm going to take each one of these, I guess you'd call them, I guess tendrils is probably the wrong word, in here at a time. I'm going to work dark, my YR23 to my Y21 to my light. I'm going to blend in there with the modified feather stroke. Now, I always color faces last. Because I don't want to goof up my image. Because if I leave my face alone right now and don't color it before I color my hair, going with my Y11, then I can fix any mistakes that I make by using my colorless blender. Now my Y00. I know you're all like mulling through your mind about the Paula Abdul reference, but I swear it's coming in here. All right, so let's look here by his face. Once again, that's a general rule. Hair by the face is darker. Okay, I'm just gonna add a little Y21 in here. Coming over here with my YR23, and I'm going to focus my darkness by the face on the side of his hair here. Because we know the light source is coming this direction, so we want that to be the lightest, because that's where the lines enter the image. Going to blend in. You have children at home, you ever bake a cake and the kids are like, how do I know it's done? I mean, Copics are the same way. I mean, there's a fine line between blending the right amount and over blending and bleeding out. Sounds like ER, right? So you know that you're ready to move on when the one line blends into the other, and you can see that. Go. Come in here once again with my darks. And Patty has a whole host of new greeting farm stamps in. They're so much fun. You won't regret it. I was on their design team, and it was truly a dream come true. It was so much fun, all the fun images to play with, and they have a fan for life in me. I just love their stuff. Okay. There we go. And you can see that side light source coming in more and more, okay? I'm going to add a little bit more darker here. Just a little. Not too much, because now we're getting closer and closer to that light source. We're going to add a lot less and less dark. But we still need that dark for the difference in color, because you have to have light and dark opposed, right? To be able to see that there's a light color, you have to have a dark color there to be able to point that out. So that's why that's important to have even just a little bit of dark. Blend in that light color. There we go. All right. One more tendril over here. And this little guy reminds me of my husband. So he has to be blonde. Isn't that funny? Whiff of Joys remind me of my daughter. And these remind me of my husband. It's funny that way, isn't it? Although there's certain ones that really remind me of my daughter, like the Snuggle one. I think it's called Snuggle, and it has the little the greeting farm stamp with a little girl holding the bunny. Oh my gosh, my daughter is in love with that one, and that looks like her when she was little. And I always, she has a little box and several other little things made with that. With my lightest color here. There we go. All right. Looking at the light source, or looking at the light source coming in from the side, right? We know which needs to be the lightest, which needs to be the darkest. Typically, someone will have a darker hair color where there is a darker, like the part of your hair. So we're going to focus on the part here, up here, and we'll finish coloring those other little chunks of hair in a second. So up here is going to be darker. Now this is a one step forward, two step back thing, okay? So now I'm going to start coloring backwards. I've colored from there. I'm coloring into that YR23 with my Y21.